What is going on, everybody? 4x4 Camping and Adventures. And today, here to talk to you about chalk on your tyres. If you haven't done this before, it's a pretty mundane way of finding out if you have the right tyre pressure in your tyres. Now, the concept is essentially you draw a tyre mark or a chalk line across the tyre, left to right, get the whole tread covered in chalk, and essentially drive down the road 100 feet or so, and reverse back. You don't want to turn your tyres because that can actually obviously distort the actual chalk. And then from that, what you'll find is where the tyre is actually touching the ground. So if you only have the middle of your tyre touching the ground, you have way too much pressure. If you only have the sides of your tyre touching the ground and the middle is not touching, then you have too little pressure. And it's a pretty quick, good way of gauging if you have the right tyre pressure. It's not going to be 100% accurate, but it's going to give you a pretty good ballpark figure. Because the main problem is most people have is when they upgrade the tyres on their car, the load rating and all that kind of thing is going to drastically change how much pressure you need in the tyres. So from this, most people don't know what pressure to put in their tyres, and they sort of work it out and guess it and all that kind of thing. So this is going to give you a fairly accurate gauge of what you should be putting in your tyres, and it's quite easy to do. So I'll show you how to do it. Now you can quite easily see it's just on the bottom of the tyre, so I've already put the chalk on it. But there's a chalk line just here. So what I'm going to do next is drive the vehicle 100 feet, and then I can get a gauge on where the actual tyre is obviously wearing on, and from there then I can go down in pressure, up in pressure. At the moment I've started off with a baseline of 40 psi, which is probably way too high anyway, but it's going to give me a really good baseline, and then drop incremental pressure from there. So let's get into it. Alright, so first run, as you can see, middle section's worn out. Side section's still obviously showing a fair bit of chalk there. That obviously tells me it's got way too much pressure in there, so I'm going to drop the pressure probably by about 3 psi, and then do the run again and see how we go. Alright, so I've tried to get in the same spot, so done again, and you can still see there's a tiny little bit of white chalk on each side. Now I'm going to go down another 3 psi, and then probably that's going to be my sweet spot. This looks like at the moment, because it's cold, this is roughly about 37 psi. So I think about 35 is going to be about my sweet spot. So I'm going to go down to 35 and then see how we go from there. Alright. So 35 pounds, that's obviously my go-to pressure. Now, these are cold, so it's going to give me a fairly good indication of where they stand cold. You can do this when they're warm as well, but there's a fair few variables in that. They do say, or when my old man told me about this, they said obviously do it on cold tyres, because it gives you a fairly good indication of where they stand from a cold to a warm point. Because if they go obviously up in pressure, they're obviously going to expand out naturally in all 4 tyres, so they should go up the same pressure as you drive along. So 35 pounds pressure, there's no chalk on the tyre, so I know that's my go-to pressure. I could probably go to 36 and it's probably just about right, but it seems like this is obviously the place to be. So 35 pound, and I'll do the rear ones as well, and then I won't put them in the video because it'll be quite long, but this gives you a fairly good indication of where your tyre pressure should be, and it's so simple to do. You get a bit of chalk, put it on a line across your tyre, make it reasonably thick so you can actually see it, and you're ready to rock and roll. So that's been another episode of 4x4 Camping and Adventures. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you learned something. It's a little bit different, and there's no sort of magic tools that we need to use here. It's just chalk. So anyone can do it, and it's going to save obviously your tyres wearing out unevenly and that kind of thing. So it's worthwhile doing obviously for your tyres, and saving a little bit of money, and obviously getting better fuel economy and that side of things. Some people like to put their tyre pressure up to get better fuel economy, but it obviously makes the ride harsher, so I'm not a big fan of that. But as always, thank you for watching, and as always, please subscribe and chuck a like and a comment down the bottom. But that's another episode of 4x4 Camping and Adventures. I'll see you in the next video, and thank you for watching. See ya!